Hi guys, Tasha here, Mind, Body, and Soil, where I garden in Zone 6B, which is Michigan. Welcome to the channel. If this is your first time seeing one of my videos, welcome to my garden, where I am your gardening home girl. And if you are returning, thank you so much for coming back and rocking with your girl. Today's video is a garden tour. It is of my in-ground beds, my raised beds, and any containers outside of the Greenstalks. I wanted to break it up into two because otherwise it would be so long, and we are only going to do my main garden area. Without dragging this intro in because the video is long enough, I just wanted to properly welcome you guys to my garden as I take you guys through on a tour. If there's anything that is interesting to you, anything you want to know more about, definitely let me know down in the comments. Please do like the video, and if this is your vibe, please subscribe to the channel and become a part of my gardening community. Also follow me across all socials, where I do post on TikTok just about every day. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this garden tour. This area here is just a trellis of things I had around I made, and each one has different vining beans. So they are taking off and getting ready to go up, and this will be the second wave of them on this side. So once these are spent, these should start to produce. Here is some ginger that I started in the house, and it's doing pretty good. In front of here, we've got some strawberry mint, and in the Dollar Tree stackables, that is one thyme plant that we see there. And there's other little things in between. This was a kale that was eaten up. I see celery down there. All lettuces that actually hasn't even bolted yet, so I'm surprised by that. This one has done really good with the heat. This is the Devil's Tongue from Renee's Garden lettuce. So I think I'll do a lot more of this because it hasn't bolted. In front of here, we've got two collard tree plants. And to continue those Dollar Tree planters, there's a lot of different varieties of basil. There's mugwort. There's even a volunteer comfrey. So quite a few things. There's some tarragon back there. And I'll get closer. That's a milk crate. That milk crate I lined with cardboard a few years ago, and I grew squash out of it, and it grew beautifully. Well, now this year I don't want to really do the squash over here because it got so huge, it traveled all the way down there. I put a lychee tomato plant, and if you can see those spikes, not only is it on the stems, but it's on top of the leaves, and they poke. This is a cross between a tomato and a cherry, and you can make faux cherry pie. So it is new to me this year, but I like to get something interesting for the kids. So I decided to put them back there so we're not walking into it. In this grow bag, there are Georgia collards. And along this side of the greenhouse are all tree collards. Up here, we have my passion fruit vine, and so it is definitely vine, and I'll step back so you can see just how far, but I think I enjoy it much more in here. I do not enjoy the amount of bugs that it's attracting, and I just kind of come out and clip it before it can go anywhere else. And every day I do manage to get a flower, so that will be the next flower, and it's really good for stress, anxiety, depression. So I use it to make a tea, and I'll show you up here. It has gone that far so far, so that's how we are looking there. And these two crates, they are compact varieties of squash from Mary's Heirloom. They were gifted to me by a farmer, and to use as trellis. It's just an old Greenstalk I just took apart and kind of put there. Here is my sweet potato, and it's beginning to trellis up this same makeshift trellis that I put in here. And in this one, we've got a couple radicchios, and they seem to be doing pretty good and able to form a head. It is cooler over here, and there's also some pickled cucumbers and onions lined. Here is my Meyer lemon. Now it is making a comeback. It was taken out by aphids over the winter, so it is coming back. You can see how dead it had gotten, but with a little nourishment, it has come back. This area just has a few grow pots, peppers. There is a moringa, tomato just popped in there, and another pepper. This bed was taken over by bergamot. It was one plant 3 years ago, and it took this whole space over. So I decided to pull it up, and on the outside here, I have a compact variety of round zucchinis. And then there's dwarf tomatoes as well as basil kind of mixed in. So this is an experiment bed we are working with this year. This is a Kellogg, so this one here will get big. But again, just the basils. The rest are on dwarf tomatoes. So we'll see how this one works out. The bed next to it, onions, because I like to cut when I'm cooking the ends of my onions, leaving that root on. I put them over in the grass or in the soil, and I kind of line the beds with them. These have been here for 3 years, but it helps with the pest pressure. Here I've got some cilantro ready to go to seed, and again, just those onions lining. These are all pickled or compact variety of cucumbers. See if you can see the cucumber in there. I covered it because I noticed a little scratch mark. So I think the squirrels are wanting to just kind of nibble at it, although they don't like it. And they are clipped. They won't get really viney, but I wanted to still add some support. Same thing here. We can see some of the cucumbers ready to start performing. So that's really what we have here. A volunteer viola has popped up here as well, and I did put a calendula here and one there in the middle. On the outside, we do have more of the peppers in the fabric bags. Same thing on this side of this one, as well as an eggplant. And that's how this bed looks from this angle. Here is a blood orange, and it's doing pretty good. I need to get in and stake it, but you can see those thorns are intense. Next to it is a calamandrin, and it is kind of back around. It can stand to be hit with some fish immersion to help with that nitrogen. In front here is a strawberry bed. It also has some bunching onions that I've now harvested, as well as a Another really beautiful, let me show you the color, snapdragon there. And it sows its seeds everywhere, so they come back for me just well. Here, we've got a zinnia and some calendula. Here, the bottom rows have calendula, top has onions and extra strawberries. And in the middle, we've got some varieties of basil. This area back here, starting with the planter here, has tarragon, basil, and some strawberries. Let's see if I can get back here without cooking myself. This here is a western sand cherry, and I got this bare root, and so it's doing pretty good. The buckets here, that is the bergamot that I pulled out. You have to really harvest that really quick. It is prone to powdery mildew. If I don't get it in time, then I'll just cut it back and let it regrow. The 3 wooden planters there has an apple and 2 plums. They were put there last year, and I see no growth. Typical Tasha fashion, I went ahead and put some zinnia seeds in there, and they look like they are being eaten up. Here in this bucket is self-heal. It is getting ready to flower, so I will be ready to harvest that soon. And in this planter are more of those onion sets. That one has comfrey, and this one has mugwort. Here, in these 2 bags, are the first lychee tomatoes. So I can get closer now so that you can see those pokes, those thorns. You can really see it good here. So I wanted to put these out the way. The area that I've enclosed, that is also stinging nettle that has just taken over and grown. So this area here, I try to avoid having to come in. The bag there has garlic and calendula in it. Now, the pot here has 4 different varieties of basils that I had just forgotten about in a tray and decided to throw them in there. This here is a raspberry and a really huge spider. And we're going to leave him here. He takes care of all the things we don't want in the garden. This area here, these are white oats tops. Really good for anxiety, depression, and calming, the sense of sedative. Once they turn white, I'll harvest those. Underneath here, we do have a Asian sour hibiscus. And here we have something in the squash family. Not sure what it is. It was left without a tag, so I put them here. Here is a clary sage, and behind it we've got some calendula. It also follows its same idea back here, the calendula and more oats tops along with my fern. And I placed that bucket there that has that yarrow, hoping to trap this stinging nettle in, but I'm sure it will not. This big patch here, it came up this year. Me looking at the leaves, I believe it's going to be echinacea. I did a winter sowing method 2 years ago. Nothing came up. I put the dirt back there out of the container, and that is what approached this year. Here, I just did a really big harvest of the catnip, and we've also got some flowers down here. I did a really big harvest here of the yarrow. And same with those daisies. That was winter sown 2 years ago, and this year they came up and really showed out. The taller area there is also lemon bee balm, and behind it, you can't quite see if I don't go over there, we have some motherwort that has come up, and the other daisy-like flower, that is a native flower to me. I believe it is fleabane. I have not looked to see what the properties are, but I decided to leave it until I did my research. We'll walk around. This is gated. Here we are seeing marshmallow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 of them, and they are getting ready to flower. So I will begin to harvest these. I will not take this root this year. This is also an unknown plant. It was in a pack of plants that were gifted to me by the Black Farmers Association, but they did not have names. So it's growing well. It likes it here. We'll find out what it is. There's also a passion flower there. We've got our roses here. And over here, we've got a cherry Rebecca that is just stunning. Love that. Here, we have our Mars grapes. And I can actually see the first one has turned red here. But I did cover them up because the birds were attacking them. And rules here, we eat first and then the birds. So they are all covered, but they're doing pretty good. Along this line here, we've got some dwarf hollyhocks on either side. We have gladiolas coming up, snapdragons, lemon balm, and also it just repeats going down. There's another lemon balm here. And along the back line here are chives. Over here, we got some delphiniums also coming up. The stock. We've also got another fern back there. And here's a good look at how this lemon bee balm does. And you can see how the powdery mildew happens. So if I wanted to come out and harvest, I would take this part and cut it completely back and let it regrow, and it does just fine that way. This is what's left of the storm that we had last night, so we can see all that yarrow is laying that way. We'll get a little closer. Here is my dark night rose. That's one getting ready to die back there, and there's also a passion flower plant tucked inside of there. This is how that yarrow is now laying from the storm. So I'm going to come out and begin to harvest all of this and take the weight off of it. And right there we also have more marshmallow. And this is the root that I will harvest this year. And I also see some sunflowers popping up back there as well. And the collard that has gone to seed, that was a blue collard, and so I'm saving that for seeds. Directly behind me in this bed here, which is off the trellis, we have what I like to think of as my struggle peppers. These were all started from seed, and aphids had really attacked them. So I put them all in one area with a few teddy bear sunflowers in the middle, as well as some basils and a marigold. So they are looking a lot better. You can see how little those are. but they were much littler when I put them in. Now the radicchules here, they've been out since March. They're looking okay, but I know it's just getting too warm. And on the corner there is a dwarf tomato. There is a passion flower. And then I have a couple of cucumber plants on the other side. And on the inner side here we have some butterfly pea flower, as well as a lot of volunteer morning glories. So when I see them, I do pull them. Also butterfly pea flower, and another one, as well as another morning glory. This is a lemon cucumber seed that I directly sown. We'll see which one is strongest to survive. And this area over has bush green beans, and they are coming in, so I will begin to harvest some of these. This is a really good one here I can harvest right now. See a flower on it. So I will harvest these. There is a marigold in the middle. Once these have died back and are ready to be pulled, there is a melon plant down there. So I'll allow this area for that melon plant to grow. Same thing here. There's a melon plant there, and in that corner there is a gherkin cucumber. They will get established, and by that time the magnolia sweet peas here will be ready to be pulled. So we'll also harvest some of these today as well, but they won't last long because of the heat. And here we also have a miniature sized melon, and again those same onions that have been here. And in the front there is a passion fruit flower, and I'm also seeing some of these weeds that's going to need to be pulled out. And there's also some volunteer celery I'm seeing there, as well as cilantro. All things of which will die back. The melon plant will be here, as well as the onion. This passion fruit should go up the trellis there, and of course my rosemary. The pots here outside of the gladiolas that we see are all flowers that I started from seed. Eucalyptus, coleus. There's a beautiful stock here. There's also some baby's breath in here. So I'm hoping that this is an area that I can cut flower from. And this one is also matching. This one is seeming to really be thriving here. And both sides match, so you got the same situation. But there's also a lettuce over here, and I think it's doing this good because it's really shaded. So we'll see how long that stays. I also have a red celery there, as well as cilantro. There's even a volunteer dill, and those same onions. There's another pot in front of there that also has some stock and gladiolas in it as well. Same situation here. We've got that miniature melon there, as well as a pickling cucumber. And up here, we've got those magnolia sweet peas. For this end of this matching bed, we have more of the same peppers that, had aphids, but they're making a way back. Basil. This is a butterfly bush, And it comes back every year, and it's really, really gorgeous. Behind it, in that corner, there is also a eggplant, and then more again of the same peppers with the basil in the middle. We've even got some volunteer dill here. And this is a cluster of pearl. It is a really small loofah. A cucumber that is being eaten. And again, on the outer side, we do have butterfly pea flower. And here we have a Puna Kunta cucumber that is doing pretty good. In fact, it does have a fruit there, so I covered it. And it should almost look like a brownish color, almost like a potato once it's ready. There's another cucumber from the other side. And there, we've got the butterfly pea flower and that other dwarf tomato plant. Looks a little weird. It's got the flowers here, but I don't see another sun leaf. But got a bok choy here, an eggplant here, and this is what I believe is a melon. And in the inner sides of this trellis are also cucumbers and a marigold. The same onions that have been here. And on the outer side, we do have some varieties of basils that again were left out. And I took a chance by putting them in there and see if they would come back. And again, there's that butterfly bush. So that is how those two beds there are looking. Now, and here's also 4 varieties of lavender, and they're doing really, really well. This bed, this big monster here, let me step back so you can see the size of these leaves and how far up it goes. That is El Campaign, and it is getting ready to flower. But I started to notice a different leaf coming out. And I noticed that there is now some echinacea in there. That means 3 years ago, when I thought the echinacea did not come up, it has now shown its face this year. There is chervil under there. And around the corners here, I planted some beets and radishes. So we will be harvesting those. You can see here, they're ready to come up. And it's perfect timing because I did add a few of the sweet potato slips on the outer here. There's one more in there. There it is. So we'll pull all of the beets and radishes. Now this end over, we've got some bushing beans, as well as some basil and some carrots that have been here so long. I forgot that they were even here because they just showed up. And I don't think they're going to be worth very much. And also what looks like a volunteer collard. So we got the basil on the outsides here. And on this side, we've got bush beans. So they have now gotten big enough. Once we pull these out, they'll then have room. On this side, we can now see that yes, that's echinacea. And yes, these leaves are huge. So I had to kind of put something up here to keep the leaves up so that the sun could get down to the plants here. Now, walking through, we got a visitor. There you guys. You see him? Looks like he was stuck. You see him? Yeah. That's who's back here eating that stuff. So let's find out what all he has eaten. So where we just saw him, on the end here, we do have flowers, got coleus and zinnia. And we've also got some basil that I'll use in my flower arrangements. And he's still there, you guys. He's not afraid of me at all. See? So in the inner side here of the trellis, we have melons. And I do use short varieties of melons and compact so that they're not so long and that I can get a harvest. And in the middle, there are 2 marigolds. On this end here, we do have some medicinals outside of what looks to be a volunteer cucumber. We got nasturtium, we've got mugwort, we've got some stock, we've got that white moth. And we've also got some mullein. And in front, we have a really huge burdock. And you know it's burdock by the heart-shaped leaf. They get really, really big and thick. We've got some gladiolas coming up. And we've also got what looks to be some ground cherries. Now, I've noticed it, but I wanted to see. And now that I see some budding there, I know that this is a ground cherry. So I'll be pulling this out. Zinnias and coleus. And this is also going to be a ground cherry. So we'll be pulling these out. They get entirely too big, and I've got one in a container. We've got the zinnias, and I also went in across the front and put some bush beans. But now I know why we don't have the bush beans, because the rabbit there is eating whatever he gets his hands on. We've also got nasturtium. We've got some lemongrass. This area that we're seeing here, that is also self-heal. This has been here for 3 years, and it does spread if you are considering getting this herb. It spreads, and it has taken this whole area over. Here, we've got a columbine. It is getting ready to flower again. And here is my hollyhock, and it is getting ready to open too. In the back behind here, I harvested all of these last night, but that is a jasmine, and it smells really, really good in the evening. We've also got some more voliolas that have jumped up here. There is also a roselle, and everything back here looks like the bunny has been eating on. That area there is mugwort. And this very surprise is also echinacea. I got it from a workshop. I put it out here last year, and we are now seeing lots of buds. So I'm going to really enjoy that. For this area here, it is a mix of things. So we got a roselle there. We got an amaranth there. There is a gold amaranth there. There is a money plant there. There's some sweet pea flowers there. That looks like that is also going to be a ground cherry or one of the other berries that I had last year. I planted 3 new ones to me. I didn't really enjoy them. I pulled them up. The plants get so big The fruits are very, very tiny, and they didn't really taste like anything to me. So how it ended up there, I'm not sure. We've also got another roselle here, another amaranth back there. Here across the front, we've got some coleus, as well as some agave zinnias getting ready to bud. And again, across the front, coleus and bush beans here. And in the mess, we've got different varieties of basils and one dahlia. There's a nasturtium coming down this end, calendula. There's even an okra. There's a Mexican sunflower and more basils. And to the back, we've got the fern, the gladiolas, and the sweet peas. And this is the Florida cranberry roselle and another basil, another Mexican sunflower, and calendula. Here, that's anise hyssop. That plant gets really huge. In fact, I've already cut it down this summer. Wherever those seeds drop, they just resow themselves. We've also got a volunteer sunflower. The dock sorrel down here has overwintered for 3 years and continues to come back thicker than ever. There's a volunteer hollyhock. And this area here is horton, which is really good for my son's asthma. And across the front here, looks like there's some dill. There's some onions that just keep returning, as well as some gladiolas. Another returned basil, as well as tarragon. Here we've got some canna lilies, a dahlia, and gladiolas, and the what looks like grass, those are also white oaks. We've got a hollyhock that looks like it is ready to flower this year, so I'm not sure what color this is. This is going to be that really deep maroon, almost black. We've got same onions that have been here, gladiolas, and a stick like thing we see here. That is sugar cane that I got and made an attempt to root it. I don't think it is going to be successful, but we will try. And here are again more of the basils that were left out, as well as 3 peppers that had aphids. And you guys can see here that red beetle that we're seeing everywhere. We have been completely inundated with these this year, and I really just don't know what to do. That hole that I'm seeing there, I believe there is a mole or a vole. I have yet to see it. This here is motherwort. There is also a huge comfrey plant, and I believe the rabbit has been tromping over this area here and has knocked it down. It was lying down before the storm, and this is that other area of the yarrow that was knocked over in the storm last night. And this is the back side of that marshmallow that we were seeing. There's some lemon balm down there, and there is also that collard that I was saving for the seeds. And right along this black trellis here, and the really big spider that I see there, this was a plant I started over in the hydroponics. It got really big really fast, so I had to put it over in soil before bringing it out. And it is supposed to be sesame seed, but I'm not very sure that that's what that is. And for the last ingrown bed area outside of my Greenstalks is the 3 sister method. Now, I'm going to call this three sister, a brother, and a cousin. So we'll see the beans are starting to grab hold back there. And there are 4 or 5 different varieties of corn. This back corner corn is a Japanese hulls that you use for popcorn. There is some dwarf blue corn. There's 2 varieties of red corn, and those are also sweet corns. Here we do have the zucchini plants and these volunteer sunflowers that have also shown up. Actually, I see 3. There's one back there. This one is ready to head. There's one here, along with all of these volunteer tomato plants. And I mean, there's a ton of them. And I have been yanking and pulling and yanking and pulling, and they just continue to pop up. So we should have corn soon. That is that in-ground area there. Now, the area that we see along the fence line is what I'm calling the ICU ward. There's a couple plants that was in a mystery pack of plants gifted to me, so I'm still not sure what they are. And there's also some of my blueberries and blackberries that someone accidentally cut down very, very low, and they have not come back yet. So they're over there, so I can keep an eye on them to see what happens. This was also one of the blueberry plants that was cut down, and in fact, you can see how low they cut this down. But ironically, it has begun to get shoots. So when I noticed that, I had decided to go ahead and put some of the extra onions that I had kind of left around in here just for no wasted space. These 2 plants here, this one and this one, was also in that mystery bunch, but I do recognize that these are elderberries and they're doing pretty good. Here is a strawberry ground cherry that I started in the hydroponics. Here is a cutting of a raspberry bush that I took last year, and it is doing pretty good. There's another cutting of one there that's doing pretty good, and I've got to step out of here to show you guys this one because the thorns are real. But this is my Arkansas prim, and those blackberries get really huge. In fact, the flowers are really big as well, and they're nowhere near growing. You can see the size of them now. They end up being about 3 inches long. It's probably the most juiciest variety of blackberry I have. The rest of the row here and here are all blackberries and raspberries. I've got to come out and get some work done because they're starting to lean from that heavy rain. They're just gotten a bit tall. This was a bare root blackberry that I had gotten 3 years ago, and now it's finally making some headway. It is also making headway with all of these volunteer, what I believe to be impatiens. And they're popping up everywhere. It's like the more I pull them out, the more they pop up. But they are pretty gorgeous, and they do flower down the stem. And also more volunteer marigolds, and another of my blueberry bushes that was completely cut down. Also is a blueberry bush that I had covered both sides. I guess maybe that side wasn't tight enough, because the birds got to it and completely chomped that down. This is also a new blueberry bush this year to me. I got it because this one needs it to populate really heavy. Right here we can see this is another one of those ground cherries that are popping up. This particular blueberry bush is doing really good. I did get out to cover it in time, and I am starting to see the blueberries start to ripen. So I'll be coming out and taking them off and getting the ones that are ready out of there. And that too is also a cutting that I took off of one of my blackberries and raspberries last year. In front, we've got another roselle that's in a grow bag, and it's doing pretty good. This is a white roselle, hence the lighter stems. It's doing pretty good. This was a pepper plant that I put in, but the squirrel had left a nut over the winter. And so now it looks like we're actually growing peanuts with that. This bag has a sweet potato slip in it, and I'm trying my best to keep it contained inside the bag. We've got another basil, some licorice, as well as some mullein. I just did a big harvest of those mulleins. There's a dwarf sunflower in here because this is some first year asparagus roots that were in here. So some are starting to firm. So I went ahead for no waste of space to put that dwarf tomato in there. So that is how all of my ground beds and my fruit orchard is looking here. And you also saw my oranges over there. And this area over here just has extra peppers inside of grow bags, as well as extra basils and extra tomatoes. And for the most part, all of my tomatoes are dwarf this year. This particular 30-gallon grow bag has quite a few things. There is a Florida cranberry roselle. There's also some spearmint that was started in the hydroponics. There's some basil down there. And there are also a few beets in there that need to be pulled, and a mullein. And there's more basil in that pot there. You got more of your basils and your dwarf tomatoes. This is the newest one I put in. And this is an experiment of mine I'm doing this year. It does have a cucumber in it with the PVC pipe and the string. And it winds itself kind of up the string. So now that it has shown to be successful, I am going to add an elbow on here at the top and connect a longer one across here. This one is doing a lot better. You even see the first fruit there. And since we are here, and I'm catching the flower open here, as well as this fruit, let's go ahead. It's kind of hard to do it with one hand, you guys, but you know how to hand pollinate. Right. But it's doing amazing. We'll be coming through and pruning some of these side shoots though, because I only want to have the one, just because it is in that 5-gallon bucket. And over here we are having some very struggle eucalyptus here. Some is doing amazing, and I put these in pots because they do not care to be watered. This one looks like it's gone. This one is gone, and so is that one. And this is another variety of eucalyptus that kind of has this wild look. And I thought this would be nice for some of my bouquets. And another tomato. And my tomato plants do have basils in them. So that's what we're seeing. And they are, I mean, oh my goodness, guys, I've seen so many spiders today, and I am not mad at it. This one here, starting to fruit. And it's just this looks like a lemon basil here, and another one. So that is the complete garden tour of all of my in-ground beds, my raised beds, my fabric bags. Here's some of my flowers. These were bulbs that I put in here. There's a fountain in that one back there. So these are showing up pretty good. This is my rose bush that gives me rose hips. So we will collect those. And then off of the area of those two twin beds here, this area also houses tomatoes. And if it doesn't have a basil in it, it's a marigold either in it or a basil nearby. So that is how all of these tomatoes are looking. This is the cherry, million cherries. You can kind of see that thrush that's coming there. And this is probably the one I'm most excited for this year. This is my painted lady tomato. So she is variegated. See some flowers here and even up there. I'm getting ready to see some there. And then again, marigolds or basil there. And along this line, there's a pepper, and then there's more of the dwarf tomatoes, and there is also a dill. So that is how all of the bags are looking. All of my raised beds. And again, same here. Either tomatoes, peppers, eggplants, the same, just the things. And this is the area that we came from off of the greenhouse. Here we got some of my hanging plants. This beauty here is called Peacock's Beak. So it's getting ready to bloom, and the flower is the shape of like a peacock. It is red and gold, so I thought this zinnia would look pretty good in there with that one. And those are just matching hanging plants.
If you made it this far, please let me know what was your favorite. Please like, comment, and subscribe. See you on the next one. Bye for now.